Hello from the studio at African Utility Week. I'm Rose Bundock, editor of metering.com, and I'm joined now by Dr. Anthony Akah, General Manager, Government and Consumer Affairs at the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission based in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
NERC's, the Commission's mandate is to create a competitive electricity market in Nigeria. How far do you feel you are able to achieve this at the moment, post-privatisation?
Yeah, NERC has been able, in line with its mandate, to provide the regulatory framework that is critical for the electricity reform that is going on in Nigeria. We've established all the necessary codes, the regulations. We have also established the institutional framework that will help to enforce these regulations. And then working with other stakeholders, I think that we are right on top of it right now.
Well, what are the issues that are coming out from these early months of sort of post-privatisation?
Yeah, one of the issues that are coming up are issues like the gas supply. Like you know, most of our turbines are gas fed. And we're having shortage of gas in terms of for power. And the main two critical issues are gas supply that is hindering the capacity of the installed generators, and then the issue about the distribution companies claiming that they don't have enough revenue in terms of they want the tariff to be more cost reflective. Of course, we do also have the issue about vandalization. We do have issues about poor metering within the Nigerian electricity supply industry. The government is working head-on to make sure that we improve on the gas infrastructure. And they've made so much investment, and we are looking at perhaps in the next 3 or 4 months to have an increased supply of gas for the generating plants that have been installed. In view of the low revenue that's being collected right now by the discos, the market is not balancing up to the extent that the generating companies are not being fully paid. So these are one of the issues that we are looking at to make sure that we have a market that is balanced, to make sure that we have a market where the players play by the rules and the customers are also well protected.
So as part of the power purchase agreements for the distribution companies, they committed to install meters within a 5-year period. Do you feel optimistic that this is going to happen?
I would like to say that at present, given what's going on, they are still very far from meeting the set targets. But there are a number of them that have come out with robust metering rollout plans. And we believe that metering all customers is critical and a must for distribution companies in any organized society. And we've made it clear to them that we are holding them on that commitment to make sure that Nigerians are metered. The issue about crazy billing is stopped. Estimated billing is only limited for those few circumstances and time period that is allowed. The regulator, mindful of the challenge and the yearning of Nigerians to have meters, also came up with a unique scheme called the Customer Advancement Meter Program.
Okay.
What it means is that the customers advance their own money, but it's a willing customer. And then the distribution companies are mandated to install these meters within 45 days, and then the customer gets credit back of his fees charge every month until he gets back his money plus some interest back. But these are for the willing customers, and this also is without prejudice to the primary obligation of the distribution companies to give meters. At present, metering is a critical problem. We are addressing that, and we are holding them on that one.
What measures do you have within your power if they don't comply with that part of the power purchase agreement? What is within NERC's power?
NERC has enormous powers in line with the Electric Power Sector Reform Act and also in line with the enforcement regulation that we just issued. In fact, because of the exploitation by some distribution companies with respect to collecting fees charges from customers that do not have light over a reasonable period of time, and in some circumstances, the fault of not having light is attributed to the failure of the distribution company to attend to that fault, and yet they were collecting fees charges. Just about a week or 2 weeks ago, we came up with a regulation that says if customers do not have light within a month for 15 days, the distribution company will forfeit that fees charge.
Okay.
So these are part of the mechanism that we are introducing into the sector. But at the same time, the regulator also has the right to say, if you are not going to meet up those metering understanding, we could take a lot of punitive sanctions. We could impose sanctions, we could stop you from collecting your fees charges, and a whole lot of sanctions that if we review it and we feel that it's appropriate and adequate in the circumstance, we are going to impose that.
Okay.
Yeah, but they just took the ownership of these companies. They are having teething problems. We are engaging them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also want them to know that we are holding them responsible to live up to the regulations and agreements that were reached.
How long do you feel is reasonable to give them, to be able to resolve some of these early sort of teething problems?
Some of the problems that are coming up because of low power supply. The reform premised that by this time we should be having something close to 5,000 megawatts.
Okay.
And therefore, if you have an increased power that is being wheeled out, you will have an increased revenue that hopefully will offset most of your fixed costs. But what we have now is that we have lower light. The quantum of light that the discos get is lower as compared to what they signed up for.
Okay.
And therefore, to that extent, they're also having the issue about revenue inflow to invest in this critical area that is needed.
Okay.
So we are addressing the issue about the gas supply. This is a national policy of the government. And once the gas supply is improved, the NIPP projects or independent power projects that are all installed or are coming up, they will have a good supply of gas, and therefore the generating capacity will increase. And at the same time, the transmission infrastructure is being worked upon. And when this comes into place, which hopefully in the next couple of months, then the distribution companies will not have any excuse anymore to tell us we don't have the revenue to do these critical investments. So I can't at this point in time predict the time, but it's a top priority of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to stop crazy billing and exploitation of Nigerian consumers.
You mentioned that there's a couple of the discos that are more progressive and sort of are trying to meet those metering targets. Can you give us an example of one and what type of metering scheme they might be looking to roll out?
Yeah, what we did was we sent a letter to the distribution companies to tell us what is their metering rollout plan, how many meters have they deployed, with names, phone numbers, and locations, so that as regulator we can do spot random check.
Okay.
We've gotten a couple of them that replied and sent us their metering rollout plan. And as much as possible as regulator, we don't micromanage them, but what we do is that we set the standards. For as long as the meter complies with the metering code, they are free to deploy the technology they feel that is most convenient for their own operations. And we are looking at most of them on their own deciding to go into smart metering.
Okay.
that gives them more efficiency and flexibility to manage power supply and usage. Yeah.
Do you know if that would be smart prepaid meters, or whether that would just be smart meters with a sort of monthly bill?
I think the trend now is to the trend which is good for them is that they are going for prepaid, because for prepaid they have an easy money. For prepaid they have less overhead. For prepaid they can do remote management of the energy supply and billing.
Okay.
So my own speculation is that it will be more of smart prepaid metering.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Rose Bundock at African Utility Week. Keep watching. Thanks.